Hi guys, it's been a while. It's Vanessa from it's Vanessa from To the Brim, and squeeze the fucking day. Okay, I'm back, and I have another cup of coffee. Squeeze the day. This is not a piece of art. And piece of art. This is not piece of art. Okay. So I will tell you that this angle right here, well, this angle sucks, but this angle here is like one of the only angles that you're going to get in this office today that is not completely encroached with stuff. So I'm being honest because I'm telling you that my office is a complete disaster. However, I'm not making you look at it because that creates some anxiety in some people because it's annoying and distracting. So I have not been on for a while, and here's why. I've been super busy in multiple different ways. Life is busy, but I have also been doing a lot of organizing, changing in my business, and I will share that with you. I have decided to, so one thing that you want to do as a vendor is walk up to your booth and see how it looks, right? And so over the last month, I have changed my aesthetic to be more kind of like what it is at my house. Like, I don't want to say haphazard, but kind of like patchwork of just really cool things that I've found, or I've got some of my parents' hand-me-down furniture here that we got when we sold their house. And so there's a combination of really sentimental pieces and older things that aren't quite perfect. And so my booth now has multiple wooden crates that aren't just from Michael's. There's one that I have that it looks like somebody put their stains in it, and like one of them leaked down the side, and there's a business stamp on the side, that probably from an old tool shop. What is it called? Hardware store. And I found this little white washed shelf that's round that has these 3 legs underneath it for my Stand and See mugs. And that's kind of where I'm going as far as my display. And I found this huge blush colored crocheted tablecloth that reminds me of something my mom has made that I don't have anymore. I do have quite a few of her doilies around, but I don't want to use them for market because somebody could spill one of the candles that I'm burning, or room spray or something. I don't want to damage them. So I don't want to use hers, but I wanted to use something like that. And I found, and it has changed the entire look of my booth. I also think I mentioned this before, but after the feedback from my friend Janice, I had this really tall shelf, and she's like, that's kind of, it's above eye level. That's kind of too high. And it helped me kind of reevaluate my shelving. And it was just this crap shelf from Target that, not that Target sells just crap, but I want to move towards more actual wood pieces and not just, cheap crap from Target or Walmart or Amazon. So I have been working on that. I move into my indoor market in 3 weeks. And so in that time, I am doing a lot of prep to kind of rebrand and give myself a fresh start at that market, because this was my first season doing markets. I did Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I had 4 markets a week where I could talk to customers and tweak my setup a little bit and change what I was selling a little bit and figure out where I really want my business to go. So I have said before that it's important to kind of do the whole supply and demand mentality, where if you have customers that are coming to you looking for a certain thing, that it's smart to sell that thing, right? I even said that, I think, a month ago. But I watched this video with, and I don't remember who the person was, that was basically saying, you know, when people start a small business, they don't always think about, am I going to be passionate about making this thing until the end of time? They, as far as like a candle business, maybe you'll see somebody who has this great candle business and they're being a success and you're like, oh, I can do that. You don't realize the work that goes into it. So I've put the work into it to make sure that my wicks and my candles and my oils and everything work together, because, you know, it's like a math equation. If your wicks are too thick, they burn across too quickly. The candle is just like burnt down in like an hour, and that's a waste. Or if your wax isn't the right mix, then the oils don't have a good scent throw, and the whole how long do you need to let your candles cure kind of a thing. I don't have anything against candles, so that's not what I'm saying. However, I started realizing that not only am I misleading my customers, because my goal is to, and with my tie-dye and every other thing, my goal is to establish my pottery business and to have my pottery business be able to do wholesale orders for people, and to be able to, I've just become a member at the Mint in my town, and it's a maker space, and I'll be able to make maker stamps. Like I have my maker stamp. Did I use it on here? No. I have my to the brim maker mark for my pottery that I stamp on the bottom, and I'll be able to do that with my customer's logo for their wholesale mug. I know it's possible, but it's very sciencey. I almost said to the brim. Squeeze a day. So that will make it so that I can do more custom orders. I just had someone order, hi Ashley, a mug with her business name on it. And I used my letter stamps and it looks really great. Like I centered, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying I'm really proud of how it came out. However, it would have been really cool if she could have said, hey, can you make me a Vinegar Hill Candle Co. mug, but with my logo on it? And the only way that I can really do that is by 3D printing a Maker's Mark stamp for the mug. But I would want it to be, I mean, it's not going to be this big. It would be like this, but it would have a little arch to it so that I could take it on her mug and it would be the same, the stamp would be the same shape as the mug. So I'm having all kinds of ideas. Anyways, that's my dog drinking. And I am extremely passionate about pottery and growing my pottery business. And I'm potentially going to be teaching pottery in a couple months. And so I want to focus on that. And so the candle making for me, while I love making candles, I love giving them to my sister-in-law, I love giving them as gifts, I love making them and burning them myself, I've come to a place where that is not something that I want to necessarily bring to my market, at the holidays, of course, I'm going to have different combinations of things, including candles. You know, I'm going to have like a mug and a candle, or a wax melter with wax melts that coordinate with the wax melter, things like that. So probably by the end of the year, I'm going to have burned through all of my wax and all of my oils. I've decided to move away from making candles to sell. So I know a lot of you guys are here for these fragrance review hauls, and honestly, I don't know how many of those I'm going to do in the future. I will still do them because I probably will still sell wax melts, but I you know, it's hard for me because I've been doing this for over a year, and my channel's nowhere near being monetized. I have 300 and something subscribers. You need 1,000 subscribers in a certain amount of time and view hours and things in order to get monetized. So every amount of money that has been spent on fragrance oils in the last year and somewhat to make these fragrance review videos was money that I spent out of my pocket. So I mean, I'm not even going to add it up, but it's probably close to $1,000 that I've spent on oils that I've tested out for my YouTube channel and I don't like, or I never used, or whatever. So while I know that's why a lot of you guys are here, it is not financially smart for me to continue to do that because it doesn't make any sense. I'm not really searching for scents for myself anymore. And so I don't have the kind of money to just go and do huge fragrance hauls for people so that they don't have to order stuff and try it themselves. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, however, I am going to continue making words of wisdom videos and small business topic videos, which does apply to people who sell candles. So if you're still interested, I hope that you stick around, but I understand if some people are like, oh, she's not going to do fragrance hauls anymore, I'm not interested in her content. That's cool, because there's tons of other people that do have that kind of content. So I understand, no hard feelings, but I hope that you enjoy my videos and my personality, you know, enough that you will stick around. But just, it doesn't make any sense for me to continue to spend money on things that do you know what I'm saying? Like, when you watch a fragrance review video, it's somebody who has a candle business and they're trying to also find their own fragrances. And then just by means of that, they do a fragrance review of oils that they want to try. And it's difficult because you don't see people who are like, okay, let's say somebody came to me and was like, hey, can you try a certain kind of clay so that I don't have to? Well, no, because I'm not spending $50 on a box of clay and then throwing it, trimming it, putting the handles on or whatever I'm doing, and then using my kiln twice to fire this thing and then to tell you how I like it. Who gives a shit? I'm nobody. And how the fuck do you know if you're going to like it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people use porcelain. I have porcelain. I hate it. It's like hard cream cheese. That's not my, I can't get, like, that's not how my body like does. I would have to throw so much porcelain in order to be good at throwing porcelain that, like, there's no point for me right now, because I love the clay that I use. When you fire it, it's pretty much white anyways. So for me, do you know what I mean? So whatever. So the other thing that I have decided to do, which I have mentioned before, is I'm not going to be bringing my tie-dye to the market. I've had people ask for it. I've had people say, you really should sell it. Great. I don't want to. I don't want to. I have some left that I'm going to make. I'm going to make things as gifts. I can make things for myself. If people come to me and say, I would like to have 10 sweatshirts with my logo on it, can you do that? Yes. Okay. But I've been burned multiple times because I'm a fucking idiot with people coming to me saying, can you make me these overalls? Can you make me these harem pants? Can you make me a sweatshirt in this size? So then I'm like, yeah, sure. And instead of saying, hey, you need to put half down, you need to pay for half of this because you need to cover, I need to order this thing. I'm an idiot and a people pleaser, and I'm learning, and I'm like, yeah, okay. So then I order the overalls and I spend the time dyeing them, and then I never see the person again. Or here's another example. I had somebody come, not tie-dye related, but I had somebody come to a farmer's market, 2 people. I've mentioned this before, I think, too. One person wanted an extra small pair of sweatpants, which I don't carry because medium, large, and extra large are the common sizes that everybody sells. And like, when you're just selling a couple sizes, those are the most commonly purchased sizes. So I have medium, large, and extra large sweatpants. She wanted an extra small. I had to order that and pay shipping. And then somebody with her wanted me to make them a mug that looked like another mug, but with the glaze from a different mug that I have. They said they'd be back in 2 weeks. So I ordered the sweatpants, dyed the sweatpants, made the mug, used up space in my kiln, glaze, like my time, and I went to that market and I had the sweatpants and I had the mug, and they didn't show up. And then they didn't show up the next week, and they didn't show up the next week, and then the next week I didn't go, and they showed up and were like, where is she? We wanted these things. Too fucking bad. First of all, do you think that a business owner, it's their responsibility to spend their own money on the shit that you want, and then you just don't show up? And then they have to carry it around when they have markets to do? It's like, I'll be carrying like 4 or 5 different custom things around that these people have not paid for. And eventually I'm like, fuck it, I'm selling it. And then as soon as somebody, because that's the other thing, I finally sold that mug because the lady didn't show up for a month. So I sold it. It's my mug. And then she wanted to know where her mug was. Sorry. Anyway, so I'm learning and I'm trying to share that knowledge with you. But my business is a pottery studio. The reason that I've been making candles for myself for 2 years, but the reason that I wanted to add them to my market is because I didn't have the confidence that my pottery was going to sell. I didn't think that people were going to come along and buy a $30 mug. They do come along and buy a $30 mug. So I don't need to have candles and room spray and incense and tie-dye and all these other things, even though I've had weeks where I sold 4 pairs of $55 overalls. Now keep in mind, that's not all profit because the overalls are $25 and then the dye and da-da-da-da-da. So, however, it isn't worth it for me. I'm not interested in doing that right now, especially as it's going to be wintertime. I'm not going to have bins of things tie-dyeing all over my house. Like I don't have a flat surface in my house to put anything down right now because I need to just deep clean and pack shit away and clean, and it's nuts. So this is a rant, but I am reevaluating my business and I'm not going to be selling tie-dye at my markets. I'm not going to be, and this is by the end of the year, like I'm selling this stuff off, but I'm not going to be selling candles. I'm not going to be selling tie-dye. I'm going to be focusing on my pottery business and my wholesale orders and building my business that way and selling in a couple of shops and teaching pottery. And it's a lot of soul searching because I need to do something that I want to replicate. I want to repeat multiple times and not be annoyed by it. When people order custom mugs, I'm inspired and I'm excited to bring their view of what they want that they're giving me in words and sometimes in a picture for me to try to make that. Because when you're glazing something, it's not as easy as I would like a pine scented candle and I have a pine scented oil and I can, I've got my container and my wick width and my wax combination figured out. So essentially any oil that I put in there is good, right? With pottery, every time you do something, it comes out a little bit different. So it is a challenge every time. And I like that. So anyways, long story short, I'm going to not be doing candle content as much. I'm not going to be doing the tie-dye at my markets, and I have been rethinking my entire branding. I've created a new logo that is more calm and simple and speaks to where I want to go as a person and as a business. And I'm just trying to rebrand at this time where I'm moving from these 4 outdoor markets to the 1 indoor market and possibly selling at stores and doing more wholesale orders and things like that. And it's a clean, professional, it's just a nicer logo. So there's that. Okay. I have someone who, and the other thing is I found recipes that were my parents, and my dad was always into baking. And so my mom would cook. Well, he would cook too, but he loved baking. And so I'd wake up sometimes and I'd smell coffee cake baking. And so I have his coffee cake recipe. So I'm going to make coffee cake muffins in a couple different kinds because not everybody likes coffee cake for my Saturday market when I feel like it. Like I'm not going to make it stressful for myself, but I want to share my dad's recipes with the world. And so that makes me feel extremely happy, and I love baking, so I might do English muffin bread one week. I might do coffee cake loaves one week, or whatever it is, or cookies, or whatever I feel like doing because it's therapeutic for me and maybe I can sell it, right? So that's going to be my business. 90% pottery, maybe 10% baking items. And we'll see, because maybe I will not end up selling my baked goods. I don't know. It's just right now it's coming upon the anniversary of his death and it's making me have warm fuzzies to sell his coffee cake. I might get over it. But what I'm saying is that as you go along in your business, it's going to evolve. You are going to evolve. What you sell is going to evolve. And I have friends who sell wax melts. I have friends who have candle businesses, and their candle businesses are evolving. That's the only thing that they have to focus on. And I think that's wonderful. But for me, I also know people who only focus on their pottery business. And every other booth at my market that sells pottery only sells pottery. So what kind of a message am I sending to my customers when people are walking by and there's a pottery booth, there's a pottery booth, and there's a pottery booth, and then there's this girl whose booth looks like her brain. Like, so I'm trying to like take it down a notch and focus on one thing. It's a struggle, people. As you all have been with me since the beginning, know that I'm growing my hair out. We all know that I got a horrendous haircut like 2.5 months ago. And luckily the top was long enough. And look at that. I'm deciding if I'm keeping my sparkles or not, guys. But so we're down to here. So I'm trying to let this be kind of not a mullet. My son cut it so that it's not a mullet, but I'm growing it back out. So deal with it. I don't look good. I don't care, guys. I know that there are people that put on fake eyelashes and lipstick and whatever people do when they do their makeup. Clearly, I always have this bag that's bigger than this bag because of the lighting, and usually a pimple, usually a goat hair sticking out of my chin. That's not why you're here. If you're here to make yourself feel better about yourself, then that's great. If you're like, I'm glad I don't look like her, that's good. If you're like, she dressed like she fell out of a garbage truck, that's cool. I admittedly got this sweatshirt at Aldi's. For those of you who know what Aldi's is. Okay. So, pep talk time. I have a friend who, hi Alyssa, who has a event this weekend. And she is super nervous because, I'm sorry if I'm oversharing, but this is a pretty general feeling that a lot of people that do sporadic events feel. So don't be mad at me. What I can say is when I did my first event, my first market, I was pretty nervous. Like, I didn't have diarrhea on the way there at a gas station, but I could have, you know what I mean? I was like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going to be setting up. I don't know who I'm supposed to talk to. I've emailed this person, but I don't know what they look like. I've never I had set my tent up in my driveway because you should always do a dry run to make sure that everything is in working order. But so I did that, but I hadn't done it myself. My husband was there. He helped me open the tent in the driveway. And here I am by myself. Subaru is packed to the brim, and I'm nervous because I'm like, you know, what if this is a huge mistake? What if I'm a huge failure? What if nobody buys my things? On and on. The same thing that people worry about the sell of anything. It doesn't have to be pottery. My second market was the first time I was at that market at a different town. Same thing. So then I went to markets with people that I had met at the other markets, and I was okay. But the first two markets, I felt like the people feel that do like 3 events a year or 6 events a year or whatever it is, where there's this time in between, or you're going to a different venue, or you don't know where you're going to set up. You don't know who you're supposed to speak with. Now, some people will get a map ahead of time and they know where their spot is. But sometimes you go to a special event like that and you don't know who you're supposed to talk to, and you don't know where you're supposed to set up because the people managing it don't understand how to manage an event like that. I did one of those and the spaces were exactly 10 feet wide. Well, everybody's tent is 10 feet wide. So we're going to have a lot of crisscrossy legs because everybody needs 10 feet. Do you know what I mean? Like, so maybe give me a couple extra, because you're going to have your weights, which if you have the round weights, they stick out a couple inches. Like, give me like 11 feet. Okay. Some people don't know that. So you walk into a shit show of, I don't know who to pay. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know where to set up. I see my space, but I don't understand because somebody is in it halfway because the spaces are too narrow and all this shit. But I've said this before. For the most part, everybody going to that event is in the same boat. Everybody has, I'm going to do a craft fair in November. My husband and I are going to divide and conquer. I'm going to go to one and he's going to go either to the craft fair or the farmer's market. We're going to divide and conquer. I don't want to say scared or anxious about it, but I've never been to the place where the craft fair is going to be. So, my dog's snoring. I don't know what to expect. Like, I don't know what to expect. I know the person organizing it, so I know who I'm going to talk to. So I'm not, like, it's just an unknown, but I'm not, like, scared of it or anything, because I do this all the time, right? But if you are coming to this place, you don't know who to talk to, you don't know where you're going to set up, you don't have anyone helping you, it's extremely overwhelming if you don't just organize your mind to be like, every single person here is in the same boat as me. So even if somebody has their son, their spouse, their sister, their mom, their friend with them helping them set up, there's every single one of those people are still in a position of, we don't know what we're doing. So, and then you get people that are afraid that none of their stuff is going to sell. And I've told you this before. I have felt that before. When I went to my first market, my second market, it took me a while to realize that my mugs would sell, that people will come along that want that. And what I have to say is that you are going to be way more critical of what you make than anybody else. And don't take it personally when people are looking at something and they're like, they look at it, they like it, they see how much it is, they put it down, they walk away. Happens all the time. But then you're going to get somebody who looks at it, their face lights up, and they're like, I need this. It's calling my name. I need it. This is also the time of year where people start to Christmas shop. So you're going to do fine. Anybody that is doing any kind of event or market, well, market is iffy. Outside market, we're getting there to the time where, like, there's this, like, dead zone between, like, the end of summer and, like, the end of market. But my inside market, I hear, is extremely good because it's inside. People can come and they can eat and they can chill and they can take their time. So if you're doing an inside craft fair, harvest festival, something undercover, from now until Christmas or whatever, you're going to do fine. And you may have the best sale that you've had. You may do so wonderfully that you sell out of some things. You might not. It's okay. It's okay. You know why? Because you're running your own business. Look at this. I'm not cutting it off, though. You're running your own business. You work for yourself. And just like with a big business, there are going to be days where the revenue is through the roof and you're like, holy shit. And then some days where you show up. Last week at my Wednesday market, I was setting up and I sold a $10, like one of my little 4-ounce candles. I sold a $10 candle, and then I was there from 1 until 5 and I didn't sell anything. So I sold something before the market started while I was in a flurry setting up, and then I didn't sell anything. Whatever, you know? I have 2 more Wednesday markets left, and honestly, I'm going for, like, social interaction. I am not going to make money. I know this, and that's okay. But if this was my only, like, event that I had, I would have been like, wow, I only made $10, right? But at this point, like, my Thursday market, I'm not doing it anymore. There's 2 more weeks. I'm going to the makerspace or working in my pottery studio. I've realized that that isn't really a wise use of my time, so I'm not doing that. But I'm doing my Wednesday market. My Friday market's over. My Saturday market is my good market. And so I'm changing my schedule around so that it's okay if I go and I spend 4 hours shooting the shit with my friend Anne and the other vendors, and, you know, I don't make any money. I'm not going to make any money today. I'm pretty sure of it. And I'm not being like cup half empty, glass half empty. Well, my glass is half empty. However, I'm just being real. Like, and no shade to this plaza where we have our farmer's market on Wednesday, but it's in front of a Walmart and there's like 7 vendors. So literally the only people that show up are just people that are shopping at Walmart, or they come there to get something like produce or something and then they leave. And a book of matches. So in the bag with the tissue paper and the candle and the care card, I put a book of matches with my logo on it. That's a nice touch. And so think of little things like that that you can pair with what you sell as kind of a thank you so much. Here's an extra thing. Here is maybe a sample tea light, or get some baskets at TJ for $4.99, $6.99, whatever it is. Put the squiggly paper in it in your color scheme. Put a candle in it. Put whatever, couple of lint balls in it and whatever, and like sell that as a, you know, or you can say, hey, you can pick whatever scent jar candle you want to put in here, but if you want these 5 lint balls and this basket with the thing, and you want to put pick your candle scent, and then I will put the cellophane thing over it and tie it, $40, whatever. Like, so think of things like that, that people like to have one and done gifts for people. And so I'm trying to think what else people sell. I can't think. I have a brain fart. But so think of things like that that you can pair with your main thing, that are inexpensive, don't take a lot of brain power, are not going to stress you out, and will help you help your customers cross people off their list. So I hope this was helpful. It was all over the place. My house is a fucking disaster. I have to leave for my market in 4 hours, and I have so much to do. So I'm going to go have another cup of coffee. I'm going to speed clean my house. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to ride my bike today either, which I'm in a slump, guys. I was riding it like 5 times a week, and it's been like 4 days. And I keep saying that, like, it'll be 4 days, and then I'll ride it for 3 days in a row, and then it's 4 days, and that's not cool. So I need to figure that out. I need to get back on track because it feels good. Maybe I'm going to make time to ride my bike today, guys. I have 4 hours. We're going to see. Probably ain't going to happen. Maybe not. And the other thing is, I need to get out of this idea that if I can't ride it for a full hour, that I shouldn't do it at all. I can ride it for half an hour. I could ride my bike for a half an hour every single day of the week, and that would happen. But sometimes I just don't have it in me to do it for an hour. Anyways, thanks for being here. Think about subscribing. If you like this kind of nonsense and lunacy, check out my podcast, Clay and My Coffee podcast. Well, my Instagram is Clay and My Coffee Pod. So check that out. And I'm on Spotify. And I almost have enough listeners to get sponsors, which is blowing my mind. But it's entertaining at the very least. I talk about small business topics whenever I feel like it. So sometimes you're going to get 4 podcasts in a week, and sometimes you're going to get 2, and sometimes you're going to get 1. So it's entertaining. I enjoy doing it. It's very therapeutic for me. I have people reaching out saying how much they appreciate it. So words of wisdom from my mouth to your ears. I hope it helps. I love you guys. I will see you guys later. Squeeze the day.